Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Real Housewives of Potomac review. We're talking about the reunion part one. Overall, I think that the reunion was even better than the finale. I think that Karen continues to remind me that she is entertaining, that she makes me laugh, that she is witty, but she is wrong. I like the lady, but she is wrong. And I legit don't feel like she's getting it. I think that Wendy's feelings were hurt. I think that she'll forgive her though, because she was able to forgive me. And so I'm sure she'll forgive Karen. Do me a favor and hit the like button. I hope that this records okay because I'm on location somewhere else. And I don't know, the Wi Fi is acting up, but I got to get this out there. And this is the quickest way. So the episode starts with a shot that says it is December of the 2024, December 20th, 2024, right? It's been what, 12 hours since Karen has been found guilty on DUI and six other charges. So out of eight charges, she got convicted of seven, all right? Karen looks rough. She looks like she's been through it. I could be wrong, and you all tell me what you think. But I think that Karen thought that she was going to get off. I think that Karen thought that she was going to be found not guilty. I don't know why, based on the footage that we saw. I think Karen is very much so delusional, but Karen looks rough. So she's asked by a producer how she feels about the verdict as we get flashes of body cam footage along with news clippings showing us why she was found guilty, basically. She said that when she heard the guilty verdict, that her heart dropped, that she's not worried about herself at this point. She's more concerned about her children and her family. And I think she should be very concerned about her children and her family because much like she lied to us, she lied to them. And I think that that's a bigger issue. Like, present to the public whatever you want, even though I disagree with it. To have your kids stand by you and your husband stand by you. Well, nah, because Ray knew. Ray knew that Karen wasn't right. But I think it says a lot that she didn't think about all of that, right? I think that she's in denial. And I say that because she wants to make it clear when producers ask her if she's an alcoholic that she is not an alcoholic. To me, if this situation right here doesn't show Karen that she has a problem with alcohol, I personally do not know what will. Because how can she sit there and say she's not an alcoholic when this isn't her first offense? When it has gone to the point that it has gone to where she is facing time for her crime. In my opinion, because she makes statements like that, I don't know if I could feel like Karen is really remorseful. Because what if someone else was involved in that accident? What if someone else was on the road when it happened? I'm not okay with people who do stuff like this with drunk drivers because too many innocent people have lost their lives because drunk drivers like Karen like to get their butts in the car, and they are always the ones, well, not always, in most cases, they seem to be the ones that walk away from it. Meanwhile, others lose their life from it. Karen has money and Karen has a husband, and she lives in an area where there are multiple modes of transportation, both public as well as, I don't know, Lyft, Uber, taxis. Like, she could have figured out a way to get home that didn't involve her to carrying her drunk butt into a car and putting others' lives at risk. It's not okay with me. So it's 3 weeks later. It's super early in the morning, and the ladies are arriving, right? The ladies are meeting their destination. Ashley is getting her hair done, and Stacy is asking about Karen. Now, they haven't even noticed the names on the door because they haven't seen that Karen's name was one of the names on the door. They talk about how, based on what's been released now, that they both realized that Karen lied to their faces for 3 months. Next, we see Wendy and Kiana. They're also trying to figure out whether or not Karen is coming. Kiana said that she spoke to her on New Year's Eve. I always want to call her my niece's name. I don't know why I do that. But anyways, Kiana said that she spoke to her on New Year's Eve. Wendy calls her on speakerphone, and to no one's surprise, Karen doesn't answer. Now, I don't know if she didn't answer because she was in rehab and she couldn't, or she didn't answer because she just didn't want to answer. Wendy feels like the least that she could do is answer the phone. She feels like this is a slap in the face, especially because she's been there for Karen, having her back for majority of the season, which she did. We get flashes of it. We knew that she did. After this, though, in my opinion, Wendy needs to let Karen go. It needs to be an associates only type of situation. The ladies all work, the ladies all walk out at various times with Giselle and Mia having the first chair. Everyone to me looks good, and that's why I've got this picture up here. Everyone looks good to me with the exception of Kierna, in my opinion. I hate those bangs. I hate that piece around her neck. I hate the way it looks like if she moves to the right just a little bit too much that she'll get an areola or a nip slip. I'm not a fan, and I'm so disappointed in her look because she normally does a really, really good job. Most of the cast, we find out, haven't spoken to Karen since Christmas. And Andy quickly points out, the elephant in the room, which is that Karen isn't there. I wasn't surprised when it was announced that she would not be there. We find out that Karen has checked herself into a private recovery center, a rehab place. In my opinion, I don't think that Karen was ready to face these ladies. I think that is rather convenient, but we'll get into it. So Giselle thinks that it's a good thing that Karen has done this, but she wishes that she did it before her case because it could have possibly helped her. I think that Karen thought she was going to get away with it, as I said. So Wendy feels it's interesting that she's choosing to check herself in now because she could have done this before, her sentencing when she had plenty of time to address it. I think that Karen is trying to stall. I think that Karen is facing jail time and rehab, and rehab will look really, really good for her because it's like a way of showing that she's trying to get help. But for me, with Karen lying about this as long as she has, and with her denying that she needed rehab when it was mentioned before, I do feel like she's doing it for the wrong reasons. Tell me your thoughts. Wendy wants to know the same thing, like if she's doing this because she truly sees that she needs help or if she's trying to make herself have less time. And all the ladies talk about how, they could see that she would be doing it for those reasons. Stacy's naive tale doesn't think that it's right for Wendy or the others to agree with that. She wants to show Karen grace, and I want to know why it isn't right. Because they gave Karen grace all season. She has now been found guilty. In my opinion, the grace as far as Karen's concerned in this DUI is gone. So Ashley has a picture of Karen. Did I put that up here? Yes, I did. Ashley has a picture of Karen. I don't know why this tickled me, but it tickled me. I laughed at it. I think that I'm surprised that she used a decent picture of her and not one from like the footage or one like what we saw earlier. But she puts it in between her and Giselle, and they joke about how, Karen would like to be in the second chair. So Giselle moves Karen closer to Andy, and Ashley's like, no, I brought that. She doesn't go there. Move her back over here. So they laugh about it. We then get another video message from Karen, and I guess her glam was available for that recording because she looks much better. She changed up her hair. She put on some makeup. She doesn't look like she's been going through it. Maybe she had a little bit more time to process things, and that's why, but she looks more like herself. So in the message, she wants to thank everybody for how they were there for her during this process. She claims that she's heading to a facility to work on her issues with consuming antidepressants and alcohol. I really hope she's being honest with herself and why she's doing this. She says that she's taking responsibility, and she begins her thank you tour, and I feel like she left key people out. So she thanks Giselle for being there for her and encouraging her by reminding her to just basically take it, one moment at a time. She thanks her for also being a friend to her. And Giselle does seem to get emotional about it, even though she has no tears, but she's making the sounds and stuff. And Andy says, "You're crying." So, maybe she was. She thanks Kierna for her support. They pan to Wendy, but her name isn't being called. Karen then goes to thank Jazzy for her notes and Candace for having her back. Candace apparently, even though Karen at times has done wrong by Candace, even at times, I wasn't Karen the one who wanted to report her to HR. Candace has, put that to the side, and she's reached out to her several times. Then she says, last but not least, she wants to give a thank you to a very special someone. I said, okay, all right. Here we go, Wendy girl. Here's your moment. And boy, was I wrong. Because Karen proceeds to thank Andy Cohen. I said, Andy? Even Andy looks shocked, you guys. Like super shocked. I said, what did he do? I'm confused. Confusion is me. And he's confused too. And I just think it's messed up. It's messed up that she wouldn't think about Wendy or even Stacy. Stacy may have done her stuff, but they held her down too. So, according to the video, when she returns, she will not be the Grand Dame anymore. She's no longer going to go by the Grand Dame. Instead, she's just going to be Karen. All right, Karen. So I feel like Karen really let that title go to her head. It sounds good, but how about when you come back to the show or when you return out of being in rehab, that you just become a truth teller? Be Karen the truth teller instead of a liar, because I'm tired of you lying just like I'm tired of Mia lying. Like, Karen, I like you, but you a liar just like Mia. So Ashley, Wendy, and Mia, obviously, and Stacy did not get a thank you message from her. So as I said earlier, Giselle gets emotional. I'm not sure if I buy it. She says Karen is her friend and that her prayer for a long time has been that Karen got help, because over time she's seen that Karen has been making some bad choices, which we all have heard various cast members like Charisse and Robin and Giselle and others talk about Mia, but Mia don't really count. Talk about times where Karen has been inebriated. We on the live, Karen was inebriated when she did that live with, I don't remember who was in it, but I remember that somebody had to contact Ray to get her off the live because she was just doing too much. Andy points out how, Wendy just doesn't seem moved by the message. And Wendy, says that I have supported her. I've reached out to her throughout this. But after watching some of the clips over the season and after hearing what's been said, that woman on that screen is not my friend. Everybody's surprised to hear this. You get a whole bunch of, oh, wow, oh, wow. It's a oh, wow fest. But they all knew that Wendy rode for Karen, and Karen has not done the same for Wendy. Wendy feels like the season and the last episode really does prove that Stacy wasn't lying when she said that Karen has said some of the things that she said about her. Giselle reminds Wendy, I try to warn you, as far back as, Monique's lake house, that Karen wasn't your friend, girl. And Wendy's like, okay, yeah, you did try to tell me way back when that she wasn't my friend, but we weren't in a place where I felt like I could trust you. So Giselle asks Wendy, like, why didn't you, believe it? And she said that, and she's like, look, I go off of what people show me. Giselle feels like when Karen is being herself instead of, this Grand Dame or this other persona, that she is a great person. And Wendy isn't feeling it anymore. And you can't blame her. Wendy is hurt. Andy clarifies he did not give Karen the Grand Dame title, that Giselle gave it to her. I don't really care about that. We see clips of Wendy because it's Wendy's spot, right? She points out that she has been able to relax more because she's not, a professor. Because Andy talks about noticing a change in her. She's like, now that she's not a professor, she doesn't have to present herself in a certain way, but she's back to being a professor. So is that going to change? And as a result of that, she could just be. And he thinks that it also has to do with the whole situation of Giselle. I do think that Wendy was better this season, or funnier to him this season, because she didn't have people constantly going at her. I think that Wendy got a break for once. So the subject of Giselle and Wendy comes up. They feel like them talking about things helped out with the way that they interacted with each other. I'm all for forgiveness. I just wonder if Giselle would have done that if Robin was still there. You guys tell me what you think. Put down below in the comment section. Do you feel like if Robin was there, Giselle would have been okay with mending things with Wendy? Because I don't. Apparently, when they went out to eat and to discuss their issues, Wendy addressed how poorly that Giselle treated her in the past and all these things of that nature. Meanwhile, we got a little clip. We got a little clip of an over 2-hour conversation. I do not think that they are friends. I do think that they are cordial. And I still feel like they dropped the ball in not allowing us to see that whole interaction. Giselle says that she feels like Wendy is intelligent and she's articulate. And Wendy says that Giselle is funny. And that's about all she's given her for now. We find out that Happy Eddie is doing very well. It's very successful. Has anybody tried a Happy Eddie? If you have, let me know. So Giselle wants to know if Stacy is starting her own version of Happy Eddie because she's heard some things. I want to know why you guys think that Giselle put that out there. Is Giselle trying to create a storyline for herself for next season now that her daughters aren't really going to be around? Or did she really hear this thing with Stacy? Does she know something about Stacy that we don't know? Because you see Wendy looking at her like, oh, no, you didn't. And Stacy denies it. Giselle says, but I thought you had a meeting with someone about it. Even going as far as telling them that they should collab with you because you're a celebrity. I personally, as badly as I don't want it to admit it, I think that Stacy would do it. I just don't have Giselle throwing that out there with so much detail the way that she did, unless there was some truth to it. Now, whether it was a joke or not, I don't know, because Stacy didn't own it, but something about it seems like there may be some validity to it. So Wendy hopes that, Stacy wouldn't go that route without speaking to her. And Andy tries to say that Wendy did it to Karen with the candles. And then Wendy quickly reminds him like, look, no, Karen did that to me with the candles because I had a candle first. And he's like, oh, yeah, you're right. Andy then reads questions from the listener. First one is about, Wendy's requirement of her children having a master's in order to have access to their trust fund. And Wendy says, look, my kids have trust funds in place that they have access to regardless of whatever they decide to do to further their education. But I have stipulations in place. I have bonuses that are added within the trust. So if they should get their master's, or if my daughter decides to pledge my sorority, or if my children learn their native language, then they will get more money. Why didn't y'all teach your kids your language? That's what I want to know. I think that that's doing a disservice to them. Back to this. A lot of the ladies hear this and they're like, oh, that's a good idea, to the point where Giselle's like, oh, I should do that for my girls. I'm not mad at it. It may be seen as bribing her kids or trying to force her kids to do what she wants them to do. But if that's the way that she gets them to further their education, then so be it. Wendy is not the first person that's had stipulations like these. There are millionaires that have these types of stipulations. There are millionaires who won't even give their kids $1 million, let alone give them a trust fund. I'm not nowhere near a millionaire. I was going to say I'm poor, but there's power in the tongue. I'm not poor. I'm, a basic. We'll say I'm basic in funds, right? And I've already told my son that if he plans on staying with me and living with me, he at least needs to pursue an associate's degree. You will not be living in my place and you're an adult and you're not trying to become more, because there's enough going on right now in the world that to the point where even an associate's, even a bachelor's in some instances doesn't do anything. So you need to do what you need to do. And if that's what she feels like she needs to do, Team Wendy, right? We get back on the subject of Karen and Wendy. And Wendy wants, because it's asked if Andy asks if she has any regrets with inviting her to the White House, and Wendy's like, yeah, I regret inviting her to the White House. I could have had somebody else. She says, like I said, looking back at the season, I believe all that said. There's no reason for Stacey to lie, and it would have been better to just bring someone else. Kierna points out that one of the things that she didn't like was that Stacey decided to bring up things with the things that Karen has said once she was mad. Like, why did you wait until after you had an issue? I didn't like it either. I'm not that type of person, but apparently Stacey is. I would watch Stacey if I was anybody on this show. I like Stacey, but I watch her. So Stacey's like, I had no intentions of bringing it out there, but Karen, acted like I wasn't supporting her, and she hurt my feelings, and she stopped supporting me, and I, said what I said. Wendy's says, since we want to talk about what's been said, Stacey, when you were joining the group, Karen told me to be careful of, you, the new girl, because you're smart, you're very smart, and you're very educated, which to me, that's not a dig. I personally would find that to be a compliment, but Wendy felt the need to say that. Giselle chimes in because she begs to differ. She's like, is she? I said, what? What did Stacey do to her? She's like, is she? Now, did she mean is she because she doesn't think that she's smart, or is it because she doesn't think that she's educated? Because there are a lot of people who are not educated, but they're extremely smart. And there are some people who are educated, but they're extremely naive, and there's a lot that they don't know. So I don't know what she meant by saying it, but it made me question what's going on with Stacey and Giselle, because she kept making little comments towards Stacey. So Stacey, I think you're on her radar. Kierna says, when it comes to Karen, I'm always going to have a soft spot. So y'all are saying these things, but with everything that went down, Karen has never been the person that you guys are saying she is to me. Karen is the one who was with me. Wendy's like, okay, that's fine, but let me remind you, Key, you're my boo and everything. You're my friend. I'm going to tell you now that Karen will mother you if she feels like she can. Because she thrives in that role. She loves that role. But the moment that she realizes that she can't do that, she's going to turn on you. I said, I actually agree with that. I think that Karen likes to feel needed, especially because Karen doesn't really give us any, like at this point, what's Karen's storyline? This season, she could have actually given us stuff, but she was lying so much that I feel like there's a lot that we didn't get from her. Andy questions if Wendy is self-absorbed. And they all like, yeah. Wendy even says, yeah. She says, but we all are. Wendy explains that she understands that it takes strong women to be friends with her because she's very sure of herself, if you say so. Jesse then comes out and immediately takes notice that Karen's not there. I guess she wasn't paying attention in the back. I guess they weren't allowing her to watch as this was being filmed, but okay. She is engaged and she has a date set for her wedding. And even though Andy, tries to call her a side chick and all those other things, she still gives Andy an invitation, and it's a mirror and it's engraved. And she's asked about being a side chick, and she claims that even though there was overlap, she never was the side chick. She says that the only person she'd be willing to be a side chick for is Andy. Okay, if you say so. The Jazzy segment was really unnecessary. We jump to Ashley. Andy wants to know the same question that he's asked the past 3 seasons, which is Ashley divorced yet? Take note, Ashley, that Andy even realized that you dragged this out. Now, I think as of today that they have finalized everything and she is officially divorced. So we find out that at this point that she had filed She signed, Michael signed. They were just waiting on the state of Virginia to be like, yes, you're divorced. Because of her prenup, she is not getting alimony because she signed that prenup that says she wouldn't pursue it, but she does get child support. We are reminded, as far as Stacy's concerned, that Stacy is not getting alimony. No, she's not getting child support, but she's getting alimony. And then Mia says that she's in the final stages of her divorce. She's just waiting on the judge. When she said that, the reaction and the expression on everybody's faces was priceless because they aren't buying it. They aren't buying it at all. Mia lies so much that even when she's telling the truth, and if she's telling the truth, people aren't going to believe her. So some more questions are asked. The subject of GNA comes up because one of the questions that's asked off the internet is what happened with the website, because it went from them selling clothes to there just being pictures of Ashley and Giselle on the site. They talk in a roundabout way about switching up the direction of the company. They both agree that the timing was off, that Ashley had things going on as far as her divorce is concerned, and Ashley admits that she wasn't willing to put that much of an investment into the clothing company. So now they've kind of pivoted to like this community liaison role with health and wellness. It's asked if they're a nonprofit. They say no, but you're not making any profit. So I feel like they might want to be a not-for-profit. It just doesn't make sense. Like, y'all are talking in circles, and it just like they're holding on to it just so they can say they did it, because other businesses that Giselle has done have failed. Giselle baked cookies. They say you're a great baker. Like, come up with something else. You could be the next Crumble. I mean, I'm just saying. Even though I don't like crumble cookie, some people do. So you could be the next crumble cookie. Mia asks, what's the next phase? And Giselle says, it doesn't matter because you're not going to be invited. I said, okay, something's going on. What did we not see? Because Giselle even ignored Mia when she complimented her on her clothing for the reunion. So what else happened that we don't know? The GNA event comes up, and they talk about how, proper protocol is when you're invited to an event and you RSVP, that you actually attend that event. That just because you get invited to another one doesn't mean that you get to skip out on one. And the ladies feel like they should have been allowed to enter the event even though they were wrong. Giselle's like, look, I have more respect for Wendy just telling me or just deciding that she was going to go to Karen's event, while y'all basically acted like my event is, an afterthought. Bottom line to me, whether I like Giselle or not, is that those ladies should have went to her event first and then went to Karen's. Karen's event came up last minute. You all knew about Giselle and Ashley's event for a while, so you should have attended that first. Jazzy's like, I get all that. I just wish that we weren't kicked out the way that we were kicked out. Like, you created a scene. You didn't have to come across the room saying that security needed to escort us and all those other things. And I agree. Because despite Giselle admitting that she took out her frustrations on them, and that she made the situation about, Karen, I feel like it was tacky. I feel like it was wrong. I feel like she did a disservice to the cause, because this wasn't a GNA event for real. This was them partnering up with the Brain Cancer Society, I believe it was. And you made it about that when you had other vendors and other people in there. That should have never been a thing. So Giselle, we're reminded, apologized. And Andy says, it was surprising to see you do that because that's not something that you do often. And Giselle's like, look, I'm turning over a new leaf for 2025. Next, we talk about Mia's birthday. Okay, it wasn't even planned on the thing. It would just kept being, put out there because Wendy and Ashley can't wait to talk about it. So let me give you what's been said. Mia had a party in Miami, or was planning a party in Miami. Out of the cast, she invites Stacy and Jazzy. Nobody else. So they RSVP'd. They let her know that they would be attending the dinner. The dinner was supposed to be set for 8 p.m. They show up at the dinner. When they tell her beforehand, before the dinner, that they are in Miami because Stacy has the text, Mia doesn't respond. Right? So Mia's like, Stacy didn't respond to my invitation. And Stacy's like, you're a liar. Stacy proves it's a lie. Then she tries to blame it on the point of contact. Stacy pulls out her phone and she's like, I didn't text the point of contact. I text you. She shows it, showing that she's lying again. She hands over her phone to Andy. Andy reads the messages. And we see that after she arrived, she told her that she was in Miami, and she did not respond to the text until after 12 the next day. So like it would have been 11 o'clock when you text her. She didn't text her at 11. I don't remember what time she texted her, but either way, she got in Miami. She went to the place and, text the girl, and the girl didn't respond. So Stacey explains that they waited for over an hour and none of Mia's birthday party was there at the restaurant. Mia says she was only an hour late. And Wendy's like, nah, that's not adding up, because you said that the dinner was 8. And no, not you. Stacy said that the dinner was at 8. And you didn't get there until 11. That's more than an hour. Stacy's like, not only that, I didn't just text you, but I called you and you didn't answer. Now, my thing is she going to try to act like she didn't see those messages? Did you have your phone on Do Not Disturb? Like, I don't understand. If I know that people are coming into town, because I'm one of those people who normally have my phone on Do Not Disturb, right? Every now and then it's off of Do Not Disturb just because I may need a ringer or stuff like that. Or if it's not on, I'm lying. I don't always have my phone on Do Not Disturb. I actually have it where it's silent. I'm lying like Mia. Anyways, so if you put your phone on silent and you know people are coming in or Do Not Disturb, you need to keep checking to just see if you get a message. Don't waste my time. Time is not something that you can get back, right? So Mia's like, I apologize, but I talked to both of these ladies. And Stacey said, no, you did not. You did not talk to me. That is a lie. So Mia's like, well, I sent a text. And Stacey's like, well, that's not talking to me. That's sending a text. And she's like, well, everybody sends a text. No, everybody doesn't. And given the fact that you had that girl, she flew all the way out to Miami. That's a ticket. Bravo didn't pay for her to fly out there. She paid for herself to fly out there to celebrate you on your birthday, for you to pay her dust and not respond. That's insulting. The least you could do is call the girl when you realize that. But you gonna text her? No. So Wendy points out that it was wrong for, you to ghost them. Mia starts crying. Wendy's like, look, you're my friend, but you got to stop doing this. You got to stop crying when you want sympathy. Giselle is agreeing, as is Ashley. Mia's like, I can't control my tears. This has been a tough season for me and I'm going through a lot. And Giselle says we all are, which is true. They all are. So Mia tells them that, I'm sorry I've been a bad friend. And I don't remember who it was. I feel like somebody from the other couch, but I could be wrong, says that it's been a lot of seasons of you being a bad friend. It stops there. The ladies take a break. I personally feel like, the way that Mia lies is scary. People like Mia are scary because here you are on television where there's proof and you lie. On Instagram, you lie. You post messages on Twitter, X, whatever it's called, and you lie. You are lying. You're lying left and right, and you're trying to act like you're not. And you're being caught in the lies, and you're still lying. So the ladies are all off in their various rooms. She doesn't know it, but Stacy and Jazzy are in Stacy's fitting room. She goes to knock on the door to tell them that she's sorry. She's like, I just don't have the capacity to be a good friend right now. She's talking, and Stacy's like, you know what? I hear you, but I'm not receiving it right now, because the only reason why you're apologizing now is because we've called you out about it, which is true. Because I don't know when Mia's birthday is, but why are you waiting until this show and the reunion in January to call it out? So Mia says, wait, was it in January? I think they did the reunion in January. Yeah. So Mia says, well, I just want to say, then thanks for listening to me. So she walks off, being the victim that she likes to play, telling production that she's leaving and she can't do this anymore. And she closes the door behind her. Girl, you know you had on that mic. Why are you crying like that? Anyways, let me know. Did that? I was gonna say you guys. Anyways, that came out wrong. You guys, let me know what you thought about this reunion part one. If there's something that I left out that you want to talk about, feel free to put it down below. Until next time.